Happy to have you aboard here for the Really Big Barbecue Show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 2 feet for wiener.
But listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. It's the Barbecue Central Show. So happy you have decided to either stay with me for the second hour or you're just popping across. Maybe you're on Facebook. Maybe you're on YouTube Live. Maybe you're listening the way it should be. No video whatsoever and checking it out on the TuneIn app on your phone or smart device or through the website. If you're not familiar with that, if you go to the bbqcentralshow.com, there is a live audio stream button right at the top left. Click that, and that will take you right over to the TuneIn. If you like that, download the app. That way, if you're in the car next Tuesday and you don't think there's any other way for you to get the live show, or you don't want to eat up all your data through doing the video stream on Facebook or YouTube, you can get just the audio through TuneIn and listen to it like a regular radio program. And I think that's the best way to take it in because your mind can paint the pictures of what's going on. Instead of my face really telling you the true story, in your mind, you can paint much more grandiose pictures. You could think that I was way more worked up than I really was, or you can make my face more worked up than it really was when I was yelling at Meathead for making such blasphemous statements a little bit earlier. By the way, if you missed me admonish Meathead for saying that grilled pineapple is the best thing to come off a grill ever, you will have to get that on download. That will be out tomorrow. The second hour of this show will be released on Thursday. Still to come tonight, Laura Pall of Smithfield. She's the new brand manager. We'll talk to her and meet her for the first time. And more importantly, well, not more importantly, but just as importantly, we will also find out who the 2020 Smithfield Grant recipients are going to be. So make sure that you get on all of your social media channels and put out that in about 12 minutes from now, we'll be revealing, or maybe a little later than that, we'll be revealing who the 2020 Smithfield Grant recipients are. So if you have put in for that app and you run a barbecue competition and you know all about Smithfield, maybe you haven't had it in years past, maybe you had it in the first year, but that's the second year and so on, you're going to want to tune in for this one. It's going to be very exciting. We're going in chronological order as the events will happen. So soonest to happen will be mentioned first, and then we'll work out through the balance of the calendar year and see who the lucky folks are. And hopefully we can also get a list from Laura as well that I can post on social media. So if you are just too anxious to wait for the podcast to show up on Thursday, or you don't want to go through the video, then you don't have to do that. You can check it out on the podcast or through the list if we can post it up on social media. Don't forget, socially, you can follow me at BBQ Central Show, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, /BBQ Central Show on Facebook. I have like 2 videos on TikTok. I was really into it. I got really off of it, and maybe I'm going to be back into it, but probably not. So just go ahead and sign up for it and expect nothing. Coming up this Friday, by the way, aside from Wednesday podcast release and Thursday podcast release, did you know this show is a live show? It happens Tuesdays from 9 to 11, and at the very same time that I am doing this show, literally this instant, I am also recording audibly. And I make the audible recording a podcast that's released Wednesdays and Thursdays. Now, in addition, on Fridays, John Solberg, the executive producer of something called The Best Moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less plus tax, we will have episode 107. 107. Let that sink in. As I've said time and time again, I believe I host the first and fourth longest running barbecue podcast, maybe fifth, but I don't even know how many episodes, I don't know how many barbecue podcasts that are out there now and that have been doing it for a little while, or even up to 107 episodes. That's over 2 years. We have done it. 107 episodes to be revealed on Friday. That'll be episode 107. So I think it's like mine, and then Man Meat, and then actually, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I have 3 of the 4 longest running. It's the third one that's a little sketchy because Meathead has hired me to do a weekly pitcast for his Pitmaster Club forum member, and I think I'm getting ready to release episode 192 of that, if you can believe it. So I think it's me, and then Man Meat, and then me again for AmazingRibs.com, then me again / John Solberg for the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less at episode 107. I guess to put it mildly, I own the barbecue podcast segment. Step off, bitch. We bringing it. We ain't new to this. Anyway, episode 107. Taking you back to December 12th, 2013, and then Pitmaster of Warren County Pork Choppers, Donnie Bray, was my guest. And I'm telling you this right now. I listened back to it as I was getting ready to post it in the feed over the weekend while I was at a volleyball practice, and I listened to all 10 minutes of this, or 9 minutes and 58 seconds, or whatever the hell it is. This is a classic. You don't even have to know who Donnie Bray is. All you have to know is this. 2013, at the end of the year, which is when this original interview was recorded, there was a huge Team of the Year race going on between Warren County Pork Choppers and Donnie Bray and Tim Grant's True Bud Barbecue. By the way, take a look around. Neither of them anywhere to be found at the moment. I think 2013 was the last competition season that Tim Grant did, if I'm not mistaken. And then soon following after, Donnie Bray of Warren County Pork Choppers was not quickly out of the mix, but over the last couple of years, I haven't seen him really making any kind of run at anything. So shout out to Donnie Bray. Hope you're doing well. But this is a great interview, because, and you know what? I don't even want to spoil it. But basically, it came down to one competition in December where Donnie had to win in order to get Team of the Year. And Tim Grant either had to do like match or do better. If Donnie won, then Tim was going to have to win in order to recapture. Maybe that's what it was. It's a great conversation. It's not extravagantly long. And the candor and openness and honesty of his answers to my questions is probably unmatched in recent memory. Totally honest, totally open, a great interview. You don't have to be a competition person to really enjoy it. It's just a great, open, tremendous amount of candor in the interview. So if you just like good interviews, which you must because you keep tuning in here week in and week out, you'll really enjoy it, especially if you came to the show post-2013. Again, this original interview was December 12th, 2013, after Team of the Year was decided. Again, that's Donnie Bray from Warren County Pork Choppers. That will be in the podcast feed on Friday. Now, I did mention this with Meathead because we talked about it. It was found on MondayQ.com, if you didn't see it. This was back a couple weeks ago. Charbroil LLC, makers of gas grills, challenged online commercials run by Traeger for its wood-fired grills. Charbroil argued the Traeger's claim in the commercials, the problem with propane is when you cook with gas, your food tastes like gas, was unduly denigrating, especially since, according to the challenger, the phrase tastes like gas is repeated so many times and spoken so quickly that it sounds like the actors were saying tastes like ass, which, of course, Traeger did not deny. Traeger defended its commercial, arguing that over-the-top humor of the spot made it highly unlikely that any reasonable consumer would interpret the taste like gas or ass anything further than that. And it also argued that since nearly every American adult has eaten food from a propane grill, the target audience is intimately familiar with the food grilled with gas and the taste cooking on gas grill imparts to food, and knows that food cooked on a gas grill doesn't taste like gas or ass. Perhaps unsurprisingly, NAD did not agree.
Andrew, you are not the father.
It concluded that the statements are unsupported, objectively provable, and falsely denigrating taste claims, not poofery. NAD rejected Traeger's argument that the target audience would, because of its experience, understand the claim is untrue, making the over-the-top humor of the ad much funnier. Rather, NAD stated no amount of humor can rectify an expressly false claim. Thus, NAD recommended that the advertiser discontinue the claims. So once again, proving that while he probably didn't realize he was prognosticating the barbecue future at Traeger, indeed he did. While the case is certainly not the first time that NAD has rejected an advertiser's attempt to defend its ad on the grounds that it's too funny, it may be the first case of ass canning. Sometimes you stretch for the humor, I think. We didn't get to the runner's high, but that's an evergreen piece of content when I need it. I'll talk to you quickly about Green. Speaking of evergreen, Green Mountain Grills, they're evergreen as well. They have a classic or choice line, if you will. I'm going to write that down. Choice. They also have a prime line of cookers. Prime line is the newer version, of course. It's got the peek-in window on the cooking chamber and pellet hopper, a couple different internal meat temperature probes. More of a robust chassis build on the Prime line as well. If you don't want to shuck out the bucks for the Prime, Choice is fine as well. I have a couple of those. The good news is the bigger models, Jim Bowie and Daniel Boone, both accommodate the pizza oven insert. Chef Christina Fitzgerald from Sugar Shack. Is that what it is? Sugar Shack Barbecue? I think that's wrong, by the way. Is it Sugar Shack? Can somebody check me on that? Damn it. She just got a new pizza oven insert. She was getting ready to jump all over that. She's going to be happy about it. I love mine. Use it all the time. Pizza parties are fun. If you want something portable because your NFL team is getting ready to play the championship game in the AFC or NFC, Davy Crockett's what you want to go with. If you don't have access to that traditional power outlet, it's got 12-volt technology. Prime line, by the way, has 12-volt power technology as well. Read about them all, then find your dealer nearest to you when you find the dealer locator. No, it's not Sugar's Barbecue, Steve. That's Lene Oxley. Come on. GreenMountainGrills.com. That's GreenMountainGrills.com. They got pellets, they got sauces, they got rubs, accessories as well. Once again, they do work on a dealer network. You can't get them online. Find your dealer. Go check them out there in person. Feel the build, feel the quality, get all your questions answered by the dealer, and then make the purchase and feel confident. No buyer's remorse here. That's why they do it like that. GreenMountainGrills.com, and we're back with Laura Pall, Smithfield. Stick around, be right back.
The only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue. A man actually named Meathead. The author of a barbecue Bible. Bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the dozens. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
The name, by the way, is Sugar Fire Barbecue. Props to me for remembering that. Steve Ray giving me fake news information. This portion of the show, of course, being brought to you by Smithfield. That's right. Are you signed up for the Committed Cooks program? We'll talk more about that here in a minute. SmokingWithSmithfield.com is the place you want to go for that. That's smokinwithsmithfield.com. My first guest of the second hour, current brand manager for Smithfield. If you were a barbecue event that applied for the 2020 Smithfield Grant program, and you have been wondering if you will be getting the call, we will be, okay, let's go back here. Go to call. Hold on one second. Then you'll want to stay tuned as we'll be revealing, of course, who will be getting the hot Smithfield Grant program awards. So we'll race to the hotline and welcome first time to the show, Laura Pall. Hey, Laura.
Hey, Greg. How are you doing?
I'm absolutely fine. Sorry for the little technical glitch there. I'm not sure what happened on my... Skype is the worst thing ever, Laura. I don't know if you have any familiarity with Skype, but it seems that I am relegated to dealing with such archaic technology in the land of technology, which is ever sweeping and changing by the second. This seems to be like my best thing, and it's like the worst thing ever at the same time.
Technology is great, but only when it works. And, it's a 50-50 chance is what I see.
Typically for this show, it almost seems to be 40-60 and not in my benefit. So we will point to hopeful futures here as we go forward. All right, so before we get into the grant program and the Committed Cooks program talk here, Laura, I wanted to quickly get a background on you. It's your first time to the show, which we certainly appreciate you taking time out to do that. So a little background about you, where you are currently in the country, maybe where you grew up, and if you've always been in the marketing realm.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
You bet.
I grew up in Connecticut, so I'll say I'm a Yankee at heart, but I've lived in Virginia now longer than I've lived up north. Been about 15 years that I've lived in Virginia now. Went to University of Virginia, William and Mary for my MBA program, and have been with Smithfield for the last 4 years with the marketing department the whole time. So I have some background in sales, but primarily marketing and shopper marketing.
When you look at marketing and how that term has evolved or been defined over 4 years or 5 years or 6 years, what makes somebody successful in marketing? Because I think a lot of people say, I want to get into marketing, but I don't even know if anybody realizes what the hell that term means anymore.
Yeah, I think the biggest attribute someone can have is really flexibility, their willingness to learn, because, marketing, especially digital marketing, is constantly changing. And if you're not, up to date with what's new and what's popular and resonating with consumers, you're yesterday's news.
Laura Pall joining me here on the show. Connecticut, now there's actually some legends of live fire up there in the East Coast. Chris Lasinger is a legend. I don't know if you're familiar with what used to be the East Coast Grill or not. That was kind of up in that neck of the woods. But into Boston, of course, you have guys that are like Chris Hart and a whole bunch of those guys. Are you a avid live fire fan in general, like growing up? Were you always around it? I mean, obviously in Virginia, you would have a huge argument on your hands because there's a lot of people there that think Virginia is literally the birthplace of Southern barbecue, and every other place is something that happened after Virginia got their hands on barbecue. So where do you fall in the live fire mix?
I don't think I can take sides on this, Greg. But, I do love barbecue of all types and kinds. And, hey, if it's good food, I will show up and eat it. I dabble a little bit myself. I've made some pretty good ribs on a jerry-rigged Weber grill. So if it's good meat, I'm there. I'm eating it.
Smithfield has been very involved with the barbecue competition scene the past number of years. As I look at varying parts of the live fire industry, I mean, certainly I could make an argument that the competition sector might have cooled off a bit. However, as Smithfield looks into 2020, how do you see the live fire market in general? And then what do you see, or what are you guys budgeting for goals and benchmarks the first half of this year?
Well, I think that the, barbecue market is continuing to grow, and whether that be on the competition side or really with the backyard barbecue, I think it's something that people are having a bigger interest in. So, they might not be able to go out and compete every weekend like some of these pros that we're working with, but they really want to make awesome barbecue for their friends and family in their backyard. So, that's who we really want to talk to and get interested in the sport of barbecue and supporting it. And, Smithfield is really proud to continue our commitment to the world of barbecue and the sport.
I've noticed that, while there may be a perceived cooling of the competition aspect, the backyard is, probably the antithesis to that. It's growing every year. There's more and more cookers coming out of the market. Does Smithfield kind of keep their finger on that pulse too and say, hey, the backyard market is really firing up now, and it has been over the last couple of years? And are there special products that you guys delineate between one sector or another, or try and push certain products to one sector or another?
No, I think we make excellent products that obviously world championship pitmasters use on the circuit, and that I pick up and I use at home on the weekend. So we don't differentiate between those consumers, but obviously we're keeping our pulse on that market, and we want to deliver excellent product to consumers, whoever they be. And obviously having our championship pitmasters support us and sponsor the brand and use our product is a fantastic way to get that message out there and show, at competitions how well they do with our product.
Laura Pall joining me here on the show, brand manager over at Smithfield. All right, Laura, so before we get into the grant recipient announcements, let's quickly go ahead and hit that Committed Cooks program. That's a program that's been very popular here over the last number of years. So for 2020, how many spots are left open, and how does this particular version of the Committed Cooks program look as compared to years past?
So I believe this is our 5th year of the Committed Cooks program. There are 300 teams signed up for the 2020 season, and registration actually closed back in November. It was very popular. I think we had all of our registration spots taken within a couple weeks.
Wow.
So, unfortunately, there are no spots left for the 2020 season. But, for the program, you do have to be a member of a sanctioning body. You have to pay a nominal $25 shipping fee and commit to cooking with Smithfield pork for the season. In return, we send you a whole bunch of swag that you can put up and display while you're competing. We've been known to show up at events and, give out some extra cool prizes. But, I would really encourage people who are interested and are not part of the program yet to, stay tuned to our Smoking with Smithfield website. And, in the fall, we'll be putting up more details for the 2021 season.
Wow. So that's, has it ever sold out that quick? That's huge.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yep.
It was pretty popular. So, yeah, it was great to see, people's interest. I wish we had more spots available.
Yeah. No doubt about it. All right, so the Smithfield Grant program is one of the other things that have really been a great supplement to events that it gets handed to and partner with each year. So before we get into announcing who's going to be the lucky recipients of some of those grants, how does this grant program look compared to years past?
So the grant program is something that we started back in 2017. So this will be our 4th year doing it. And, the idea is that we really want to support pork barbecue in particular. And these programs are awarded up to $3,000 to deepen the prize pool for their competition. And over the years, this year included, we will have supported over 140 events at an investment of over $420,000.
Wow.
So we really want to support, the events out there. Drive teams to go compete in those events, and support the sport as a whole. But it's a big investment on our part, but we really see returns, and we've partnered with some really great events in years past, and then this year I'm really excited to announce those events.
If you are an event and you fill out an application, maybe you don't get picked this year, maybe you have never been picked and you've applied 4 years. Are there any general rule of thumb things that as an organizer or an event planner that you want to have kind of lock down in order to give yourself a best look, if you will?
Well, we have had a number of teams be chosen for a number of years in a row. But I will say, as we continue to get applications and as the years have gone by, we have turned down programs that we think are now very well established. Mm-hmm. So what we're trying to do is really help those new events get off the ground, give them a little bit of, extra support that they might not be able to do on their own. But for the most part, we see so many great events come through the application process. Again, I'm sad that there's not more spots to give out. We had over 121 teams or events apply for this year alone.
Wow.
So, it's a small percentage that we're able to support. But I would just say keep on applying. If you haven't gotten in yet, please keep the applications coming in year after year, and hopefully we'll be able to support you.
All right. Are you ready to start revealing, Laura?
I am, yes.
Man, I can't wait.
I was going to go in chronological order if that works for you, Greg.
Works for me. So go ahead. You have the floor.
Okay. Number 1 on March 20th is the Smokin' in the Square Barbecue Cook-Off in Pensacola, Florida. Number 2, March 27th, Tennessee River Barbecue Battle and Music Fest in Jackson, Tennessee. Number 3, March 27th as well, the Hammond Barbecue Incorporated in Hammond, Louisiana. Number 4 on March 28th, that's going to be a busy weekend.
Yeah.
Suncoast Barbecue and Bluegrass Bash in Venice, Florida. Number 5, April 3rd, we have the Carfest San Antonio Barbecue Cook-Off in San Antonio, Texas.
Nice.
Number 6, April 10th, Smoke in the Spring in Osage City, Kansas. April 24th, Washmo Barbecue Bites and Blues in Washington, Missouri. Number 8, on May 1st, Masters in May in Bancroft, Wisconsin. Number 9, May 22nd, High on the Hog Festival in Winchester, Tennessee. Number 10, on May 24th, Red, White, and Barbecue in Westmont, Illinois. Number 11, which is our halfway mark, is May 29th, Smokin' in Steel in Owatonna, Minnesota. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Number 12, June 5th, we have the 9th annual Valley Veterans Barbecue Competition in Valley, Nebraska. Number 13, June 27th, Heritage Days Barbecue Showdown in Belvedere, Illinois. Number 14, on July 10th, we have the Clayton Barbecue Cook-Off in Clayton, California. Number 15, on July 11th, the Gold Ribbon Barbecue Fest in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Number 16, on July 18th, we have the Chillin' and Grillin' in the Glades in Wise, Virginia. Number 17, on August 28th, the 9th annual Death's Door Barbecue in Washington Island, Wisconsin. Number 18, on September 11th, we have Riverfest in Decatur, Alabama. 19, on September 18th, is the Tilly HD Biker Blues Barbecue Rally in Salisbury, North Carolina. Number 20, again on September 18th, we have the Tri-City Barbecue Fest in Denison, Iowa. Number 21, November 7th, is the Polar Pig Barbecue Cook-Off in Concord, North Carolina. And last but not least, on December 11th, 2020, we have the Briscoe Ranch Barbecue Cook-Off in Uvalde, Texas. And that is our list for 2020. Congratulations, guys.
Holy moly. Wow, that's 22 in total, correct?
22 in total, yeah.
22 in total. We have Texas and North Carolina and Iowa, Florida, Tennessee, Illinois, Minnesota, Nebraska, California, Wisconsin, a couple different times, Virginia. It seems like there was a true concerted effort to not only take into account really good events, but take it all over the country as well.
Absolutely.
From that return aspect that we were talking about, because you said that it's for the amount that you guys are committing, as Smithfield is doing and has been over the last 4 years, you're getting that return. So is that from a people joining competition and using product? Is it from backyarders getting out of the competition scene and just buying for that? Like, what's the pop that Smithfield sees in order to continue to want to do this year after year? Because it is, I mean, you kind of, say, wish you could do more, but, no news to you, Laura, but nobody else is doing this, by the way. So $420,000 is a lot to invest over, the last 4 years. So I'm just wondering where the eyeballs for Smithfield are to say, yeah, this is a wise investment for us to continue to do year after year.
At the end of the day, it's more product, Greg. So we definitely see sales jump, and that comes from a number of different areas, whether it be from, competition cooks using our product to consumers going to these events and seeing cooks use the products and buying them at their local grocery stores, to, some of these competition teams have really big social media followings, and just a little bit of social media sharing goes a long way. So we appreciate the support, and can't wait to see a great season and some good barbecue all year round.
This coming weekend, KCBS has their annual banquet over in Kansas City. Is that something that some of you guys are going to be heading out and taking part in, or any plans to do that?
Yeah, I'll actually be there with some of my colleagues, and we're going to have some raffle prizes and some other stuff from Smithfield. So it'll be a really fun event. I can't wait. Emily Detweiler's put on a great event over there at KCBS, and it'll be a fun weekend. So looking forward to seeing or meeting anyone else who might be there.
Are you going to be readily accessible if people want to chat you up and bend your ear a little bit about Smithfield and pork and all that stuff? You're going to be around?
Absolutely.
All right. So, craft your takes accordingly. And if you see Laura, grab her, say hi, and make sure you tell her that you appreciate everything that Smithfield is doing, not only for the competition scene, but for the backyard folks as well. I'm not a competitor myself, Laura, but I am a avid barbecue cook here in the backyard, and we're always talking about Smithfield here in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. So anything else that you would like to promote or, tease us or tickle us a little bit with a feather before I let you go tonight?
Nothing to tease tonight. I just, want to say thank you to everyone who applied for the grant program. Keep it coming. There are some really great events this year, and keep barbecuing.
All right.
Thank you for having me, Greg.
You bet. She'll be there at the Kansas City Barbecue Society banquet this coming weekend as well. First time of the show and brand manager at Smithfield, Laura Pall. Thanks so much, Laura.
Thank you.
You got it. There she is, Laura Pall. Great transition into the barbecue jungle for first-timer Laura Pall. And, man, a lot of great stuff there. Smokin' Joe's Barbecue Pit. Did you win? Did you win the grant program? What's the name of your competition? Did you win? I don't know. All right. From a host perspective, I certainly appreciate succinct and direct answers, right? Good stuff there. So look forward to having Laura back on the show here over the course of 2020. And if you're going to be in Kansas City for that banquet, make sure you stop by and say hi to Laura and thank her for everything that Smithfield is doing for both the competition and the backyard. If you're feeling exceptionally froggy and you're going to pitch her, make sure you have something tangible to show, sell in the right way. Don't walk up and say, hey, do you want to sponsor me? I can already tell you the answer. No. It's the human condition. We are ingrained to innately say no. Oh. He's here. My phone hangs up very quickly. Southside Market and Barbecue, folks. I got to talk to you about them. 1882 is when they were established. 3 generations of the same family running the oldest barbecue joint in Texas, offering premium Central Texas barbecue. Slow smoked over real wood, shipping, distributing, manufacturing sausages for companies across the nation. From food trucks to multi-chain restaurants, Southside Sausage can be on your menu too. All meats are processed on the on-site USDA inspected facility. A trusted partner with a focus on quality and authenticity. You have wholesale options available through shipping nationwide via the FedEx, food service distribution through Cisco, U.S. Foods, and Martin Foods. Co-packaging capable from research and development to package completion. They can also follow your recipe or help you develop something brand new from scratch. Private label opportunities also available. In simple terms, you sell their sausages already made under your name, adding a stream of revenue. You know it's a product everybody loves. You can just have your name on it. For me, Barbecue Central beef sausage, but it's really Southside Market beef sausage. You can visit SouthsideMarket.com if you're outside of the local area and get all of your shipments. And you can save 10% when you do that by using code BBQ Central, all one word, lowercase, BBQ, CENTRAL, BBQ Central, to save 10% off when you shop at SouthsideMarket.com. Come on. As Laura said, technology is great until it doesn't work. I hate Skype. Again, SouthsideMarket.com. That's SouthsideMarket.com. Promo code BBQ Central for 10% off your order. It works every time, by the way. Every time. All right, we'll see if we can't raise Steve Lulofs from Veterans Q. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back, and we thank Laura Pall from Smithfield again. This portion of the show brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker. Who's ready to hang? Give me some hang time. That's right, Pit Barrel Cooker. You can hang your food. You can put it on a grate if you want to. You can do a combination of both. They got great accessories, cool coffee mugs that look like pit barrels. And they might have a 50-gallon-ish size coming out. Maybe towards the end of the summer. We'll have to confirm with Noah Glanville. In the meantime, you go to pitbarrelcooker.com. All right, joining me to close out the show is the creator of a great sauce and rub line. Second time on the show. We call him Steve Lulofs. Hey, Steve.
Hey, what's up? How are you guys doing?
Did you, go right to the airport and throw up the Veterans Q background and you are somehow, in a TSA holding cell or what? I mean, that's very impressive.
That's how we roll. I always bring the banner with me.
Yeah.
No, I was at my kid's soccer game and or soccer meet, swim meet.
Yeah.
And I lost track of time, so I missed my flight. So I'm chilling home tomorrow.
What?
Yeah.
Oh dear. I mean, was that for work that you were flying?
Yeah.
It's
all good.
They don't care if do they send the private jet for you tomorrow and usher you the way you should have been flown? Do I see a hidden agenda?
Yeah, exactly. It's first class tomorrow,
Yeah.
Air Force One style.
Yes, I like it. So, all right. Well, I'm glad you could make it in for the show without any rushes into the terminals of whatever airport. Were you going to New York or Washington? Or?
D.C.
D.C., yeah. What do you fly in there? Is it not Reagan, right?
No, I never go there. Go to Dulles.
Yeah, Dulles. Oh, my God.
I used to live right down the street from it, so it was kind of nice whenever I flew back and forth to Chicago on the weekend, so I just went right there, and I was home in 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's the best. The only easier way is when you do fly private, and you can just go right into the FBO and no security check, hop on, and you're out of there. But that's very expensive. Steve, before we get into the topic tonight, let's quickly recap the business, when you get started, and how things are going currently as you look into 2020.
All right. Well, the business started. We're about to actually in February. We're going to hit our third year of business. We started doing competitions in 2015, doing backyards. Did pretty well. Then we started doing KCBS the last couple years. Through our barbecue competitions, we being naive, I thought you had to make your own sauce and rubs. So I started making my own sauce and my own rubs for competition, and people started liking it and started asking us where we could make our sauce or where they could buy it, and so we just started selling it to family, friends, and then started getting to grocery stores. And 3 years later, now we're in, I think like 15 or 16 different states and a few hundred stores or so throughout the country. And now we're trying to expand and hopefully double that this year for 2020.
Steve, when I first started doing the show, so let's call it 2006, this was podcast before I actually started doing the live show, which will be 12 years next month. You weren't naive to think that you had to make rubs and sauces. Back then, the majority of teams made homemade rubs and sauces. And then it seemed like in that, let's call it 2010, 2012 arena, there were an onslaught of sauces being brought to market. There were a lot more rubs being brought to market. And all of a sudden, it went from, you have to make your own rubs and sauces to stand apart, to create your signature flavor, to why the hell would you make your own rubs and own sauces when there are so many awesome ones to choose on the market? So when you were, we did a documentary on the show last year. There was a guy by the name of Dion Blumenrader who decided he was going to bring his sauce to market. And we started right in the beginning of the year from concept, and we followed him all the way through to the first bottling. And the thing at the end of the year in December when we did the follow-up or the final 2019 thing was, what was the biggest pitfall? What do you wish you would have done? I'm getting to a question here. And he said, I wish I would have pulled more people, not just my family and friends. I wish I would have sent it out to, 500 other people. When you were getting your sauce available, people were telling you how good it was, but before you made that jump, did you pull 500 or 600 people, or was it mostly people that you knew, maybe just saying, hey, it's great, in hopes they could get some free Veterans Q sauce and rub?
Yeah, actually, it was only probably 10, 15 people. So I just would have friends and neighbors come over and family members, and I had them fill out I made little index cards, and, with certain questions on it, like too smoky, too sweet, too spicy, that kind of stuff. And I had them fill out, kind of like a secret ballot or a secret entry, so I wouldn't know who it was. And that's how I did it. And thankfully, I have some, people around me, especially my wife. They're, very blunt. They'll tell you straight up, hey, if something's nasty or not. So it's kind of nice. I do have some friends, some people who always say, oh, everything you're doing is so great, but those are the kind of people you kind of want to stay away from.
Steve Lulofs joining me here on the show. The website, veteransq.com. That's the letter Q.com if you want to check it out here while we're talking. Before we get into the topic here, any new products coming up on the horizon, Steve, that you want to scoop tonight?
We're actually in the works with two different ones, with two different sauces, hopefully coming out. But we're in that little crossroads right now on, I guess kind of get funding for them. So once we get that, we'll have a couple new products, a couple new sauces out there, and they're ready to go. We just got to wait for that funding to come through.
All right. So angel investors, if you're listening, Steve is looking for any angels around him to drop some funding, and we'll get those. Are they flavored sauces like an apple or a peach or a pineapple or something along these lines? Chipotle?
I like barbecue. I like pretty generic barbecue. So we got like a whiskey sauce and a mustard sauce coming out.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
So NBBQA topic talk tonight, and you had messaged me yesterday and said, hey, did you happen to see this? Or maybe you'd mentioned there was kind of a rule change. So, for the folks that don't know, there's the National Barbecue Association. Every year they have their showcase event. I think there's a lot of that is perhaps it's their only event where they use to raise funds. And it's typically in a barbecue area. The year that I went in person, it was Dallas. I think the following year or last year was Kansas City, if I'm not mistaken. And this year it's going to be in Louisville. So Louisville, maybe not as much of a barbecue mecca as the other two, but, I like Louisville as a city anyway because I'm a big horse race guy. And, of course, we know Churchill Downs is there, but I digress. There's a portion of this event is called the Awards of Excellence. So I'll let you take over here, Steve, but tell us a little bit about the Award of Excellence as you know them and how you get into them, how you experienced it last year, and then most importantly, the change that you saw this year that you wanted to come on and talk about. Yeah, I mean, the NBBQA, I think, is a great organization for barbecue. They have some stuff that they could offer people from anyone has to deal with barbecue, from, catering to barbecue restaurants. If you have your own products, pretty much anything that you have that you're I guess you want to say professional at in barbecue, the NBBQA is great for that. You have a lot of opportunities. You could talk to different people, communicate. They have like classes, throughout the year and whatnot. So that's kind of like the gist of it. I could be totally wrong with what else there is. And then they have this, every year they do their awards banquet. And then with that, they also have, they rent out big hotels for, a few days, and they have classes, a few classes a day. You do lunches together. They also have like SCA done, goes there and they have a couple of events. And you can meet and greet with all the big names in barbecue and whatnot. So I think the NBBQA is actually a good thing overall. But I know they made some changes this year with the Awards of Excellence, and it's I think it's going to hurt a few people out there, especially I think the smaller name people. So that's kind of like where we were talking, and a few of us been talking back and forth about this, about the Awards of Excellence and the changes that they made and how it's going to kind of hurt the small guy, if that makes sense. So you were so this is Awards of Excellence, something you have to enter. For the folks that maybe are new to my show, I did enter, kind of tongue-in-cheek, my show in the Awards of Excellence since I was going to be in Dallas-Fort Worth. It was $75, I think, when I entered. So you had to pay to get in. I think the year that I did it was the first year that they were going to have like audio media be judged. And I had contacted somebody that was in charge of Awards of Excellence. I said, hey, whenever money's involved, I get my butt puckers a little bit. I become very questioning. And I said, who's judging my stuff or whoever else is being put in here? And then if you don't deem to be any entries that qualify for an Award of Excellence, am I just paying you $75 and you're going to take everybody else's $75 and that's it? Or because we have paid, you are going to pick a winner. And if it's me, do I feel like I've just paid for an award? It wasn't necessarily like given or earned. So those are my two speed bump issues as we went in, a couple of years ago. So let's fast forward to last year at least. Talk to me a little bit about your experience there. I assume there was still an entry fee at that point. And how did you do in the Awards of Excellence? There was an entry fee. Pretty much everything, every kind of like awards competition, there's always a fee for it. Obviously organizations need to raise some money somehow. Yeah. And that's another way. So every award or every single kind of competition that I've ever done, for our barbecue products, there's always been some kind of fee. I think it's around, maybe last year, I don't remember exactly, but it might have been about $30, $40. This year, it's also $30 or $40 to enter per product or per category, depending if you're a member or whatnot. Yeah. So the whole paying thing, is, I understand some people have a little hang up with that, but everything I've done so far, it's kind of, I guess it's kind of common practice, if that makes sense. Yep. But yeah, last year, so we entered actually our first year ever having a commercial. So like in the NBBQA, you have to have a commercial packed product. So something that's, like shelf ready, that has all the, the legalities behind it and whatnot. So that's kind of a little bit different than other ones. But 2 years ago when we entered our first time,
we entered our spicy barbecue sauce, and we took first place in our spicy barbecue sauce. Then and I didn't go to that was in Dallas, and I didn't go to Dallas just thinking it was kind of expensive for us to go head out there. We're brand new to barbecue. We've only been in it for a couple, like a year or so. And we figured, hey, why not? Never thought we would win. Luckily that we won, and it was a big shock, and it was awesome. So then we entered our products again in last year, and we got an email about 2 weeks out, and it said, hey, you're one of the top, top finalists or something like that. And, if you want to come, come. You're going to be able to accept your award. We would like, people who, are there to accept their award, which makes a lot of sense, kind of. So I was like, hey, I'm going to win an award. I'm going to, I assumed it was going to be for our sweet heat barbecue sauce. So I was like, hey, let's go out there again. And, we're going to do, pretty decent. So I went out there and ended up, went there the first day, and it was cool. They had like Culinary Fight Club was there, and you kind of hang out. And the big thing at these, at the conferences, actually like afterwards, and you hang out at the bar with all the other, barbecue people, and you kind of just talk to them and, mingle and network, and it's a big networking thing. So that's the coolest thing of all. But then last year when we were at the Awards of Excellence banquet, all of a sudden, I kept on hearing my name getting called, and I got called over and over again, and we took home 6 awards, and I think we took home the most awards out of anybody, from all the big guys to the the little guys, and it was crazy, and it was just something that was just, it's still hard to believe that that my product, I just happened to, I think it's like judging, you just get lucky. I just happened to you hit the right tables. I hit the right tables over and over again, and it was awesome. So, but then, so that was cool there. But then the classes, and then the next day we did classes, and different classes that trying to maybe to help bring your barbecue sauce, and there's so many different barbecue classes. It could be from anything like how to work with the media to, maybe how to get your product out to the market, or maybe you talk. I think last year they had a few people, the big names in barbecue up there on the stage talking about, their barbecue experience. Yeah, like the Masters talk or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they had them, which was cool meeting those, those guys and whatnot. But, after 2 days, I just figured it's kind of like, hey, this is not, it wasn't my thing anymore. I figured, hey, I'm already communicating. All I'm doing is just coming to wait until to the end of the day and wait to the bar and, drink all night long and whatnot. So after a couple of days, I just figured, hey, why not just go ahead and go home. And that weekend, actually, I was supposed to go to Louisville for a little PBC thing, pit barrel thing, but that ended up falling through. So I just went home and hung out after that. But it was cool overall. But there was I don't think it's for everybody, but I think it's something that's good for a little bit for sure. All right. So as we look forward to basically 2 months from now, I think this year's is first weekend in April, if I'm not mistaken, down in Louisville. Yeah. Awards of Excellence obviously happening then. I'm getting the emails saying, hey, it's quickly coming to a close for entry, so you better get your name in if you want to do it. So what's going on this year that has been different in years past? So in the previous years, they had culinary students do the judging. This year, they reached out, and they're looking for judges. They want sanctioned judges, so judges from like KCBS, SCA, like the EAT and whatnot. So that's their first change they were made. We're making the judges from culinary students to some average Joes, who eat barbecue on the weekends and whatnot, who really don't have any experience except for, and there's obviously there's a lot of issues, obviously, within KCBS and other sanctioning, bodies with a lot of issues with the judging already. And I think, to me personally, it's a very one-dimensional in the world of barbecue. So I personally, my personal opinion, I think culinary students have a better palate than a barbecue judge would. And maybe that their mouth is open to more flavors. Where if we're going to pigeonhole competition folks,
they're looking typically for one kind of a profile, and if it's outside of the box, that's when they start scoring down, and the students might be a little bit more open to stuff that's outside of the traditional box.
Correct. That's how I look at it too, because obviously a culinary student, they're not just one. They have to learn a little bit of everything when they're in class and different flavor profiles. And I think that's great when you start going with your if you do an exotic type barbecue sauce, or if you have fruits in your barbecue sauce, or even if your rubs or anything. I totally I personally think and a few others think it's better to have someone who's not who's not biased. I think personally I think a lot of competition judges are kind of biased and like we said, one dimensional.
We got the judging thing that's changing, and then was there something as far as how many awards you could win? Was there a cap?
Yeah, there's like a cap, I guess. So I guess you cannot. So last year there was a couple of us, small town, small guys, won multiple awards for the same product. So, for example, I have a chicken and pork rub, and I entered my chicken and pork rub in the chicken category, the pork category, and also the seafood category.
Sure.
Well, I just happened to place my chicken and pork happened to win in every single category. So, who knows? Maybe there's only 3 people who entered. I don't know, but I was able to place in all of them. And then same thing with barbecue sauce. So last year my spicy barbecue sauce won spicy, but maybe this year it wasn't spicy enough, so it went over to the mild barbecue sauce. Well, my original and my spicy barbecue sauce both took an award for mild barbecue sauce. Huh. So this year, and there was there's a lady who has a great company out of Indiana. She won first place and third place for both of her barbecue sauces. So she won multiple first places and multiple third places.
Yeah.
So this year you could only win, one product could only win, and you could only win in one category. So I don't know if that makes sense. So it's it's like one entry per category and only one category per entry. So you only have, so my chicken and pork, I got to either choose chicken or pork or seafood. Once it wins, I'm done. There's no more else for me to do with that product.
Wow. So they're, in essence, it's like, saying that your uncapped commissions, if you're a sales guy, are actually going to get capped.
Yeah, wow. Exactly.
So, look, you're ponying up money for entry fee to get in there. You want to be considered for as many things as you can, and if your stuff is deemed to be good enough, then there should not be a limit on how much. There shouldn't be a limit on winning, right? I mean, if your stuff is good and you can win everything across the board, then you should be winning everything across the board. Not only because it's good enough, and if it's judged that way, you should be able to receive those accolades. But look, from a marketing standpoint, you can quickly turn around when you get back home and say, hey, we just owned NBBQA, our rubs and sausage, cleaned up everything, and you can hit up WGN 720 and get on with Dane and talk about that. And you can also talk with, whoever else are on social media and the newspapers. Yeah. That's a lot of publicity now that you could potentially get cut out of for no good reason.
Yeah, exactly. So, after I came back from, Kansas City, exactly, I got written up in the newspapers. I was on the news. I got on your show for the first time. I was in other.
That was the best thing that happened, by the way. Go ahead.
Number one.
That's right. Number one.
And then, I was able to even get into another podcast in Australia. So now I reached a whole nother country that never even heard about me. All of a sudden now I'm in Australia's podcast, and I'm, people there. And then obviously that you get some sales off of that. So it's kind of nice getting it's free marketing, and it's great for someone who's low budget and small, your small town, mom and pop type barbecue company.
So is that going to stymie your attendance in Louisville this year, or will you go, but maybe get a room at the Five and Dime and just hang out at the hotel for a couple of beers and save some cash?
Yeah, I'm honestly not 100% sure. I want to go to Louisville. I've been on a Team Pit Barrel since I started barbecuing. It was my first smoker, and obviously that's their corporate office. So, I would love to go to Louisville. It's only 4 or 5 hours from Chicago. So, it's a quick drive, and so I'm gonna play it by ear. I'm not gonna enter any of my products into the competition this year.
Wow.
Just, I mean, it's not gonna break them. Obviously, it's not a big deal. It's just something.
I think it is. I mean, if you're coming on the show to say that you're not going to do it and you don't like the fact that they're putting a limit, by the way, I totally agree with you, then I think there has to be other folks that are going to be of a similar mindset, and this could be a year where their traditional fund expectance on awards of excellence could take a dip. The NBBQA, by the way, is in no position to take any shorts. I mean, it's been around for a long time, but it kind of flounders. It doesn't have an excessive amount of membership ability to it. Nobody seems to be flocking to it. There seems to be some kind of a quickly fading mystique of how great it is. I mean, there's a lot of staunch barbecue legends that are kind of around it, but I have no idea what that leadership is up to. And for as long as it's been around, for crying out loud, the Pitmasters Club at AmazingRibs.com has way more paying members, and they've only been around for 4 or 5 years. So, I mean, I wouldn't take your non-entry into the Awards of Excellence lightly and thinking that other people aren't going to have the same mindset. And in the end, we'll see here in 2 months what the deal is. And maybe I will show up there too, and I'll get some insider insight, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, maybe. So, I mean, they did say they went out and because I questioned them just to see, a couple of us have questioned them and to see kind of like what their thoughts are or what their, where they came, and they came back to us and said they did a survey and they had 100 or more than 100 people come back and said that they wanted these rule changes done. So, who knows? Maybe who knows?
Hey, Steve, guess what? Everybody gets an award now, buddy. Everybody gets an award. Limit winning, everybody gets a participation award, okay?
That's the problem. That's what I've been seeing and everything. Everyone cries, why you have top 15 called at a barbecue competition.
Well, we'll see how it goes here. In the meantime, please head over to Steve's website, Veterans Q. That's the letter Q, veteransq.com. And we may or may not see him as we're playing it by ear in Louisville for the 2020 NBBQA conference. Likewise, you may or may not see me, but I do like the Glanvilles a lot, and they have offered me free stays and rides on horses in their majestic palace. So we'll see how that goes. Nice. Oh, man, it's totally nice. You know it is. Steve, always appreciate the time, my friend. Sorry you missed your flight here, but safe travels when you get there tomorrow.
All right, talk to you later.
You got it. There he is, Steve Lulofs from Veterans Q. And he's a little disappointed with how NBBQA is now firming up their awards of excellence criteria, and that you need, if you can't win more than once in the category, right? He said he won in chicken, he won in pork with his chicken and pork. So now you would be basically saying entering only chicken or only pork. You can't win both. I'm sorry, it's really good. You can't win everything. You can't win everything in life. Steve, let me teach you a lesson. You can't win everything in life, okay? Sometimes you got to let other people win. That's bullshit, by the way. That's why I don't let anybody else win at barbecue shows. Because I want to be the best and I want to win every time, and that's why I win every time. All the way back in the first hour, we had a dual segment visit with Meathead. The first segment was newsy. The second segment, we talked about sous vide, and we got into a place that I'd never thought we'd get into. Meathead talking about what he didn't like about sous vide. And we also talked about smoked cocktails. Second hour, Laura Pall came in for the first time with Smithfield, and we announced all of the Smithfield Grant recipients. We did it right here on this show. If you missed it, too bad. Thursday's replay will have that. And then we closed it out with Steve Lulofs, creator of Veterans Q Barbecue Sauces and Rubs, veteransq.com. If you are looking for some cool rubs to try out, Steve's got great products, by the way. Next Tuesday, we are locked and loaded. Stephen Reichland is in. Robin Lindars is in. Emily Detweiler is in. I believe Andy Husbands is in, but I could be wrong on that. Jam-packed. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is your program host, proud U.S. American Greg Rempe, saying good night now.
Hi, this is Bobby Rempe from Cleveland, Ohio, and you're listening to Barbecue Central.